Because what do you mean that I reapplied for a job that has just been reposted 5 hours ago, has already over 1,000 applicants on it, and I didn't realize it until I was going through my email and going through my resume CV, and I was
The job market isn't real. In fact, most jobs you find online on websites like Indeed are actually data mining jobs, and some of them are just jobs that have been left up there and haven't been taken down, so they're essentially collecting your data for free, and data is gold in today's economy. So this is something you should be really interested in. If you do enjoy videos like this, hit the like button and let's dive straight into this.
There's really crazy theory going on right now.
Definitely go and watch her full video. What she's actually talking about is fake job ads on Indeed and things like that. And what they're doing is they're taking the information you put in there and they're stealing it and selling it. And just to show you, I'm going to show you some proof. So this right here is posted on Indeed's website. How to identify fake job postings, 10 warning signs. And if you go through and read through it, it actually shows this is a problem that they are dealing with, and she is 100% correct. They are stealing your information and they are selling it to major corporations.
The fact that Indeed has the audacity to make an article about this to try to warn people, yes, it's good that they're trying to warn people, but they should take more measures and action on their own website, because it's being done on their website more than any other website. This is the canary in the coal mine, so to speak.
Job market has literally gotten so bad, and people are applying to jobs and not hearing back. They're applying to hundreds and thousands of jobs and not hearing back. And it's gotten so bad that there is a rumor going around that companies are literally posting jobs on Indeed just to get people's data, just to get their resume, their first and last name, their address, and whatever other personal information people are putting on resumes. But here's the reality. When you apply to a job nowadays, you are one of hundreds, if not thousands of people. So the chances of getting a call back on one of those jobs is usually less than 1%. Think about it. If 100 people apply to the job and you're one person, that's a 1% chance. If it's 1,000 people, it's less than 1%. So the reality is there's no big conspiracy. Companies aren't posting on Indeed to get your data to sell it to bigger companies. It's just the market is so cooked, and there's so many people on the job market, and there's just not enough jobs to go around. Don't believe everything you see on the internet.
I don't necessarily agree with what he's saying. I'm not saying Indeed themselves are selling people's data, but there is other companies on there who are definitely collecting people's data. I used to apply a lot on Indeed, and then every once in a while I'd be getting random WhatsApp messages that have nothing to do with the jobs that I was searching for, but they'll ask me if I'm willing to work full-time hours. We're going to talk about that WhatsApp scam potentially as well later in this video, but that's a way that people will contact you. Somehow they get your data on websites like Indeed, and then they end up trying to solicit you online and try to get even more information like your banking information.
I am truly shocked just how brainwashed the corporate America has a lot of us. And I'm not saying that to offend the regular folks. I'm saying that as I was unemployed recently, just a couple months ago. I've been employed for the last 3 months, but prior to that I was unemployed for 3 months. I got laid off from my previous company. And what's so interesting to me, I spent like every week applying to at least 30 to 40 jobs weekly for those 3 months I was unemployed. Every single day I applied to jobs like it was a full-time job. Every hour I would apply for a couple of jobs. Every hour, every single hour I would apply for a couple of jobs. Now, mind you, I am employed. It's none of the jobs I applied for. I was recruited. But what's so interesting to me is the entire time I was waking up every single morning and applying for jobs while I'm sitting out eating my breakfast and drinking my coffee is that I felt guilty the entire time. I'm flabbergasted at the reality of that. I saw somebody on TikTok talking about it earlier, that there's a profound sense of shame as well as guilt, but specifically the guilt of feeling like you did something wrong, right? You are looking for jobs, and the only time you feel like not guilty is on the weekend. You're not employed the entire time, but the only time you feel non-guilt is because it's the weekend and everybody's off on the weekend, so you don't feel bad for not having a job. But it's like crazy to me because simultaneously we also have the conversation going on right now that nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to work, yet we're feeling guilty that we don't have a job. That's nonsensical to me. Because first of all, most people want to work. Companies don't want to hire, and they also don't want to pay. But even for the companies that don't want to pay, people are still applying for those jobs. Myself, I was applying for jobs that were completely out of my pay range that I'm used to. but I was just looking for a job. I don't care. I've always worked from home. I've worked from home since 2018, but I was applying for jobs in office. It didn't matter. I was applying for jobs in my field that I know I have extensive history in working. Like every single bulletin point I was meeting, or at least majority of it I was meeting, and still I was having issues. And what's cracking me up again is that there's this notion that nobody wants to work. They're lazy. They don't want to put in effort. And yet companies are consistently not hiring, but they have these jobs up. And that was the thing. Even now I go back and look at some of those jobs I applied for. They're still there.
Remember what she said earlier in the video, that she did find another job, thankfully, but she got it through a recruiter, and she was applying to tons of jobs online and was getting nothing. It really does feel like now, because of the demand for jobs, it's almost impossible to find one online. You almost have to be referred directly or go through a recruiter, and even that might not land you a job.
Because what do you mean that I reapplied for a job that has just been reposted 5 hours ago, has already over 1,000 applicants on it, and I didn't realize it until I was going through my email and going through my resume CV, and I was jobs that do this should be fined, because how have you not found someone? I went back through my records. This job has been listed for a month now, and they keep reposting it or refreshing it. And at some point, it's like, who do I call? Who do I call and complain to? Because how have you not found someone qualified enough for this job or who fits the company? It makes me really upset if you have the audacity to go forth and like repost the job again after a month of searching, when there's so many people who've applied to this job. I know I'm qualified for this job. I'm actually overqualified for this specific role. And I'm sure there are plenty of other people just like me who also at this point in time are willing to like drop their salary expectations. I put a very low salary expectation compared to what I should be paid for this region. And still, I'm just very curious. I'm very curious. And I'm sure this is a trend that's been happening. And someone here on this, on TikTok mentioned that they were thinking that maybe it's just a way for people to like gather our data or something like that. Because at this point, it's ridiculous. I am like, who do I call? Can I call someone and be like, is this a fake company? Is this a fake job? Why are they not protecting us in a better way? We already know it's such a hard industry right now, or like a hard time to find a job in any industry right now. Why is it so difficult? I don't know. I feel like LinkedIn and Indeed need to do a better job of like sorting out these people. If they are reposting the same job, there should be something that's flagging the system. Be like, oops, sorry, you can't list this anymore unless you actually hire somebody.
I 100% agree. They should have something in place, some sort of implementation there, that way they can find these sus jobs and these postings and eliminate them, or flag those accounts that are posting these jobs. Now, it could also be the fact that they also had their job filled, but for some reason they just left it up there because they forgot to take it down, or they could be collecting people's data.
I had a phone call from a random 07 number saying, "Can you WhatsApp me? I've got a job opportunity for you." No. They probably got my number because they did have a co-op membership account, which was obviously breached a couple of weeks ago. This is what scammers are trying to do. They're trying to get you on non-official platforms such as WhatsApp so they can try and extract as much information from you. So I'm not saying that WhatsApp's not an official app, but when it comes to recruitment, nobody will just ring you and say, "Can you WhatsApp me? I've got some information for you," and then just put the phone down. It just won't happen. What they'll do is they'll get you on WhatsApp and then they'll ask you personal questions like your name, your address, your phone number, maybe even your bank details. And some people genuinely do fall for this. Just something to watch out for.
Never, ever reply to a job recruiter claiming to be a job recruiter on WhatsApp. It's most likely a scam, something you gotta be aware of in 2025, unfortunately, with all of these fake jobs out there on places like Indeed. Anyways, guys, I hope you learned something from today's video. If you did, leave a like down below, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.